Also, Emoji Day, before I start, make sure Papa Bear comes because he's the first guest. Sounds good. Alright, I'm gonna start the show. Alright, guys. Alright, guys, this is Pop Culture Hour. We do it every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Starting November, it's gonna be 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So these next couple weeks is like extra special just for the UK people who can't make it to the later hours and to the people who. So, I am excited. Pop Culture Hour is a show where I bring on two guests and they talk about themes in the pop culture realm that they choose, and I interview them on the topics they chose. Um, get to know a little bit more about why they chose the topic. And it could be anything from like a singer, a band, a movie, a TV series, anything. And in the pop culture realm. And like I said, I interview them. And while I'm doing the show, I'm not going to be acknowledging the gifts or any comments, but I appreciate you guys. And if you guys would like to be on the show in the future, please hit my Instagram up. It's in my bio, and let me know. Um, Especially if you are in the UK, the next few weeks is dedicated to anybody really like in the UK, but it could be for anybody also because Papa Bear, who's the guest tonight, is not in the UK. So, and again, tonight our guests are Papa Bear Sings and Magical Stallion, so happy to have them on the show. I can't wait for you guys to see what their topics are and what they chose, and it's gonna be a great show. So, welcome again to Pop Culture Hour. And, so if, um, if Papa Bear wants to request the box, we're gonna get started in just a minute. And I, again, just want to welcome you guys to Pop Culture Hour. And we're gonna get this show started. And I'm excited to welcome to the box Papa Bear Sings.
Hi, welcome to Pop Culture Hour.
Welcome. Welcome to the show.
I've renamed your show. Sorry.
It's Papa Bear in Pop Culture Hour.
It's just the Papa Culture Hour. We'll just change Pop to Papa.
True. Okay, so now why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you are and where we can find you streaming, or what we can find you streaming.
Sure. I go by Papa Bear Sings, and I sing, and I play guitar. And, oh, what other good stuff? I'm a dad. I have a dog. I like blues, folk, rock, and country, and I play old school and new school. I stream at various times, do a lot of different guesting appearances and shows, and I've had the good fortune of going head to head with Kim a couple different times, I think, and walking away unscathed. So it's good.
Nice. Now, also, when can people catch you live?
Excellent question. They can catch me live random times. I try to do evenings, depending on what time I wake up, which really depends on whose streams I've been hanging around in, because I have a lot of friends in the Philippines, and yeah, they're like exactly the opposite schedule of me. So I have a lot of late nights, so I often have a lot of late mornings.
True. All right. So now you chose a great, great topic. Now, this is very because this was very specific. So, um why don't you tell everybody what topic you chose?
I chose. There we go. Ta-da! Batman.
You chose Batman.
Not just Batman, but Batman of the 1966 TV show slash movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very old movie. I think I remember seeing it like when I was younger. But
Yeah, it
that's
came
fine.
out. Yeah, it came out. Let's see, 67, 66. The series started 67. So like this in between, I think the first and the second year. So like somewhere between the first and second year, if I remember right, the movie came out. Which movies have a bigger budget than TV shows, so it allowed them to do like the Bat Boat and the Bat Copter and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And it was such a pop culture hit. There were. I'm just trying to get it so it's all lined up since I'm now in your box and I can see the way it looks best. Hey, now I'm hanging out with Batman and Robin. How cool is that? And so they did the movie, and they had a bigger budget, so they were able to get all this other equipment and vehicles. And the pop culture part of it was there were so many different famous guest stars who they were like lining up and like, please let me be a villain on Batman. There was Vincent Price and Burgess Meredith and Cesar Romero, and I was running through all the other ones in my head, and it just became the cool thing to be on the Batman show. Frank Gorshin, the Riddler, and yeah, it was a happening place to be for 2 years, and then the third year, ratings kind of fell off, and it wasn't quite as popular or cool, so it started to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. So now, what is it about the Batman 1966 TV series that stands out to you versus the others? I think you just kind of went over that.
Well,
No,
some of
you
it,
just
yeah. I mean, to answer the question, like what makes that one stand out as opposed to, like for example, the animated series or Batman 2000 or any of the other Batman shows that have come out or the movies, etc. Primarily because it was groundbreaking at the time. It was it was unlike anything that people had seen before. It was the second time Batman had been presented on the screen, or technically third. There were two different Batman serials that happened back in the 40s that were black and white, but this was the first time it was like every week, and they had the big effects. Like I was going to have this all queued up and ready to go, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, where is that one now? Oh my god, I can't even find it here. It's a battle effect. I can't do it now. Shoot, the bam. There's the boom.
yeah.
Because that was a big thing when they had the fights. They'd do like kapow and bam and zowie, and they would show up like as part of the screen. Just an image in the screen. First 2 years, and it was fun. It was exciting. It was a show that, as I watched it as an adult, I went, wow, there's a lot that I missed as a kid. There's a lot of innuendo and suggestion in that show. And so I'm sure it was really, you wouldn't have got me as a Batman guy. Oh man, Stallion, sorry, a comment reaction. Yeah, no, I grew up. I mean, when it came out, I watched them live. We'll leave it at that. I watched them first time they came out. And so it was my first experience of Batman besides comic books. And it just always caught my attention. And then for decades, decades, it wasn't being released as a TV show. I mean, you couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't on DVD. It wasn't available to stream. It was nowhere because there's a lot of royalty issues. And it finally came out like 10 years ago, 8, 9, 10 years ago, it came out as a DVD set. And finally you could see the entire run. Boom.
Yeah. So now, did you ever read the comics?
Oh yeah. Yeah, my brother and I grew up, we grew up, we were avid collectors, and this is back, a lot of the ones we watched were or read were back in the Gil Kane, and names that none of you will know unless you're comic book geeks. But these were like some of the, when he went from being goofy, like when we first started reading him, he was kind of goofy. It was campy. Like the TV show was very campy, like a lot of the comics were. And then in the 70s, the comic books took a darker turn, and it focused more on him being the detective and more darker imagery. And it was cool. And yeah, but no, yeah, from, I still read Batman comics.
Well, nothing wrong with that. I mean, we got like New York Comic Con. We got the Comic Cons. So adults go to those.
Yep.
Like, there's no wrongs.
Well, and then in 2003, 4, 5, 6, somewhere around, Lego came out with Batman Lego.
Yeah.
And I was in heaven. It was like I could build a Bat Cave, and I could build a Arkham Asylum, and I could build all these different, and then all these different minifigures. And my favorite villain, Catwoman. Because she's that kind of a villain, kind of not a villain. Yeah.
It's just like she's just there. She's like playing both roles.
Yeah, she's complicated. I steal stuff, but I'm also kind of looking out for my, other people, and she looks great in a black shiny suit. So,
And for everybody, Miss Chrissy, who's in the comments, asked Papa Bear which is his favorite villain. For anybody who wanted to know why he just
why else did I came up with that one? Yeah, I thought I'd said responding to a comment, but I guess I didn't. So NJ asked which version though. There's actually several versions from the TV show. There's Eartha Kitt, Julie Newmar, but there's also Lynn Merriweather. No, what is her name? She was Barnaby Jones's secretary. Anyway, there's a third one who's in the movie version. And my brain's going to explode.
Well, guys, welcome to Pop Culture Hour. This is a show that happens every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And,
Lee Merriweather.
Papa Bear sings in the box.
Yeah, and Julie Newmar was the first one I ever saw that was in the TV show. And then Eartha Kitt came on for the third season, and Lee Merriweather was for the movie because Julie Newmar was in a big movie called Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. And there's a conflict, so she couldn't do the third season or the movie of Batman. And then there's all the other versions from the movies, but I still go with Julie Newmar from the very beginning. It's been my favorite Catwoman.
Yeah. So now, how did you stumble onto the series, and how old were you?
Stumbled onto the series because I was a kid, and I was not in school yet. We'll put it that way. We had TV, we had a TV, and, we'd watch shows, and it showed up, and we were like, oh, it's Batman. Wow, cool. So, yeah, I was very young when I first started watching it.
So now, who is your favorite character in the series, and why?
If I look at the entire series, wow, there's a lot of different thoughts. Alfred comes to mind just because he's often overlooked. He's the butler character, and Alan Napier, who was a phenomenal actor, and then ended up in that role. And but Adam West was, from what I hear, his personal life was a mess, but he kind of embodied that sort of like Robin, we have to be, everything was gosh golly sort of back then with that show. Those are ones that come to mind as, I either see Batman or Alfred are the ones that jump out. There's probably some smaller character that's like, oh yeah, that one, but I can't think of it right now.
It's okay. So now, is there a specific scene or episode that stood out to you the most? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
Wow, so many. There's one where Catwoman's trying to convince Batman that she's gone straight, and so they're like going out like on a date, and they're having like malteds, and then they go out and they're doing the dance, and he's doing this little, which then got picked up by Pulp Fiction, but he's doing this in the dance, and it's just so funny watching them, portray this superhero and this supervillain as going out on a date.
Yeah. Yeah. So, now, if you had the Batmobile, where would you be the first place to take it or drive to?
Wow. Well, if I'm going with, my logic says if I have the Batmobile and it's here where I am, then I'm limited to the, continental United or North America. Excellent question. Probably maybe out to California to go like where all the, where it was filmed, so I could like go see if there's any remnants left over.
What's your favorite Batmobile?
I have two. One is the original from the series, the classic with the two bubbles and the red lights and the fire, the fire that flames out at the end, and the fasten your seatbelt sign that comes on. It's probably number one. My second one that I love a lot, the one I also like mostly, is the Tumbler one from the Dark Knight, the Christian Bale version, except for my logical brain has a problem. You've got these tires in the front of the vehicle, and the tires are the first thing that hit anything. And from a design standpoint, that's just stupid to have your tires be the first thing to hit something. You need some sort of a bumper. Other than that, I think the Tumbler is awesome. And my favorite, who would I rather be, Batman or Robin? Duh. Batman. Yeah, Batman, obviously, yeah. That for me would be the one I'd want to be. That was another response to a question.
Yeah. So, so compared to the 1966 Batman series, did you ever see the new TV series, the newer TV series Gotham? And what would you be your hot take, like, between like your comparison between the two?
I watched was the second season of Gotham, and then life kind of took a different turn. It was like, I'll have to get back to that someday. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great premise. I like prequels, and basically Gotham is a prequel. It's the characters you've known from the show, but earlier in their career, and Bruce when he's just a young boy. And so it sets a great foundation. So I did enjoy Gotham. What I watched of Gotham, I enjoyed. I also enjoyed, there's so many other shows that have come, like Birds of Prey was I don't remember who put that out, but it was a 1-year attempt, because in the 66 version, they introduced Batgirl the third year. There was hey, we're not doing so well in the ratings. Let's bring in Batgirl. Maybe that'll get the ratings back up. And in the Birds of Prey, in the comics, Batgirl gets shot by the Joker, and then she's in a wheelchair, and she becomes Oracle, this computer wizard. And that's the premise of Birds of Prey, and it's got the Hunter, a lot of other stuff. But Batman makes little cameo appearances, like in the title credits, and he's referenced a lot. But that's a fun little guilty pleasure series. I've also watched some of the Titans, the one where they're looking at Robin as Nightwing on one of the
Yeah.
series. Yeah, so I watched some of the episodes, and it was like, yeah, they worked. I never. Oh my gosh! All of a sudden I went back, and then the only other series I remember watching was Super Friends, which is a comic. I mean, a cartoon version. It was Goofy, and introduced characters like Batmite, which is this little alien that dressed like Batman. Yeah, I watch far too much Batman.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, because I mean, like, you even had like the like all like Batman. It has such a expansion. Like, you got like Batman versus Superman, The Dark Knight. You got so many things that come off of just what it was.
Yeah, it's got into so many parallel. I mean, now and then there's all the other stuff, and then you've got the Zack Snyder Justice League, which took split the DC cinematic universe, and like, oh, do we include it as canon? Do we not? Blah blah blah. Nobody's asked this yet, but I'm surprised nobody has. I'm also like, I won't answer it yet, just in case it's one of the ones that you are going to ask. So I'll wait on the one I was going to answer that hasn't been asked. I'll wait to see if it gets asked.
No,
first.
You can ask.
Okay. Which incarnation of Batman do I like the best?
Okay. Which incarnation of Batman do you
There we go. Because people ask about Catwoman, but I'm like, Batman. It's like, because you've got the 40s. Forget those, because nobody knows who those guys are. Then there's a 1966 Adam West Batman. Then there is, for live action, there is the Michael Keaton, and then George Clooney and Val Kilmer, and then Christian Bale, and then Ben Affleck. Did I miss any from live action ones? There's probably another one or two out there that I'm missing.
The one who from Batman vs Superman wasn't Henry Cavill.
Oh, Henry Cavill was Superman, but Batman was Pattinson. Duh, thank you. The most recent The Batman movie.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, yeah. Now you're all talking about you're talking about the Joker though. Joker, Jack Nicholson Joker, but we're Batman. We're talking about Batman. I'm Batman. Worst thing that ever happened was let's modulate his voice. So every time he talks, I'm going to talk like this now because I'm Batman. I read an article. The guy who did Nightmare Before Christmas,
Tim Burton,
and who directed Batman with Michael Keaton, explained why he picked Michael Keaton, because Michael Keaton was his long shot. People are like, why Michael Keaton? And he explained it because Michael Keaton's not a big guy. He goes, if Batman was in real life 6'4" and 260 pounds and all muscle, why would he need a costume? He would just go out there and kick butt. So he wanted somebody who wasn't so commanding and big and strong, and so the suit became more part of the character. And he watched Michael Keaton in Clean and Sober, which was like one of the first serious roles Michael Keaton did. And he looked at it and pictured him and like, what if we cut out give him a nice haircut and a nice 40s suit? Could he pull off Bat? Oh yeah, he sure could. So I loved that part of Keaton's performance. I love Christian Bale, what he brought to the Dark Knight, that trilogy. I was far more impressed with Pattinson, that the recent Batman, than I thought I would be. But out of all of them, yeah, I got to go with Keaton overall, and then Bale for my top two.
Yeah, I think Christian Bale was a good.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. And then it's like, oh yeah, all right, that we forgot about mentioning Affleck in that list. I wonder what that means.
Means he was a bad actor.
It was like, really, after Daredevil, you decided to take on another superhero? Really? And I even tried watching the director's cut of Daredevil to see if maybe the director's cut made it somehow less bad. No. Yeah, we'll just leave that one where it is.
Yeah. Um. So this. Do you. So if you. So let's say you saw the bat light in the sky. Would How would you react to it, and what would be your
Yeah, what would I want to do? If I
yeah
saw it in the sky, well, I'm assuming if I saw it in the sky, that means it's got to be close. It's got to be shining from close enough that I could see it. So therefore, the where it's shining from would probably be close enough to me to go there. I believe I would go and try to figure out where it's coming from and just see what's going on and see like what's going on. And I'd also be on some level like, cool, someone finally made it work. Because what I've read is, yeah, it's really cool looking, but physics says it wouldn't work the way it does. So yeah, I'd be kind of impressed. I'd be really impressed that someone pulled it off, and then I'd want to see what's going on.
yeah
Or what Jay says, I'd put on my cape and go help.
yeah. All right. So now before I let you go, you want to plug in your stream one more time, and what time you go live and what you do in your stream.
Yeah, my stream is a wide range. I do a wide range of stuff on my stream. Mostly I do music. I sing and play on my guitar, and a lot of older school folk and rock and blues and country. And despite what people say, I don't just sing country. It's just that most of what I sing sounds like it's country because the way I play. But like, I know I'm looking here. This Thursday night, I'm doing. Uh, I'm starting a third Thursday of the month open mic at my on my stream. So Thursday afternoon, evening, U.S. time, I'll be hosting musicians. People just come in and want to listen to musicians. People can come in and sing, play their music, do whatever. I got Warriors Auction coming up this Friday.
Nice. What time is that?
My spot is 5:30 Eastern Standard Time is when I'll be appearing on Warriors Auction. You can look at my stuff. I've got a lot of my stuff I'll post up on IG. So that's papabear.mn. Otherwise, I stream random times. I'll probably stream later tonight. Yeah, I'm looking at my thing saying, I don't see. Sometimes I'll do Medge's showcase on Monday nights. I go to Hawkeyes on Wednesday nights. Usually I'm playing his open mic. Zombie Donut has an open mic on Sunday afternoons, US time. And so I'll usually go there and play for a while. So a lot of open mics, showcases. I've done like Put in Words with Westside. I've been on this, Spotlight with Angel Moreno and a heck of a lot of game shows. I found out that I'm actually really good at streaming. I do really good on game shows that are streamed, as you've seen. I've only lost once out of all the game shows I've done. I've done like a dozen game shows, and the only one I only lost because we were neck to neck, me and one other person, and I think it was Groovies, and it came down to, okay, pick a number, and we both picked a number, and that told us which box we got. And one box said winner, and the other two said loser, or bonk, or zonk, or whatever. And I happened to pick the wrong number. So it was like, wow, 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 wow. So the only time I've lost, it was just random chance. So
Nice.
bring it on, people.
All right, guys. So hit the favorite on Papa Bear Sings, and thank you again for coming on. And I look forward to maybe having you back on in the future.
That would be cool. I would love that. And thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to
Of course.
come on to people's shows, and your show's been a fun one to be on. So I got to ramble about Batman for half an hour. How cool is that?
Yeah.
All right.
All
Catch you later.
Bye. All right, guys. Welcome to Pop Culture Hour. That was Papa Bear Sings. If you did not favorite him, go favorite him. What are you waiting for? our next, this is, again, this is Pop Culture Hour, happens at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for the next few weeks. In November, we are transitioning over to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And we have, we just had Papa Bear Sings in the Box, who did Batman, the 1966 TV series, and now we are going to get Magical Stallion in the Box to talk about his topic. But again, hit my name and follow me on Instagram if you want to be on the show, and message me and just say, hey, I want to be on the show. And also, thank you to all of my gifters and the people who are commenting. If you do have any questions for the guests, just put them in the comments and we'll ask the guests as they are talking. And I appreciate everybody who's being here. And yeah, so let's get Magical Stallion in the box.
Hello, Kim Possibly. How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you doing? Hello, everyone.
I'm great. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are? And I know you have a featured show, so why don't you tell everybody about that too?
No problem at all. My name is Magical Stallion, singer, musician. I enjoy all sorts of music on the app. I have a featured show called Best Express. It's every Tuesday, 5 p.m. EST. Again, it's all about talent on the app. Everyone is welcome in there. We have talent from all over the world, and they come in and they express themselves through the music and talent. Great place to be. We have 3 guests every Tuesday, and check it out. Details are on my Instagram as well. If you click on my name, click on my bio, and the Instagram thing is at the bottom of it. It takes you straight to my Instagram, Magical Silent 77. So yeah.
And what time can people catch you streaming?
I normally stream around this time.
Nice.
I'd say I try to stream at least 4 to 5 times a week. And of course, on Tuesdays we have the show. So mostly on weekends, though, you catch the stream in different times of the days.
Nice. So now, for your topic, you chose.
Well, I chose something that something that I'm really passionate about, and I'll tell you why later on. So my topic of discussion is Elton John. Elton John has always been a really massive inspiration to me.
The glasses, love it.
Yeah, absolutely love Elton John. His music has just been so amazing. Different years, different decades. He's always been really, really fabulous. Elton John, for me, growing up as a kid, I've always loved his music. I love the fact that he plays piano, and his story is just so touching to a lot of people, and it's been inspirational to a lot of people all over the world. So I think it's fabulous.
Yeah, so like you just touched on a little bit, growing up as a kid, he meant a lot to you. So now Elton John to you, like why is he important to you, like as an artist? Like,
so Elton John, for myself, growing up as a kid, my mom and my dad and my brother, they used to play guitars, and because my hands were too small to hold the guitars, the guitar neck and to hold the chords and everything, I couldn't play with them because I was too young. I was probably about 5-6 years old. So I picked up a little keyboard, and I just used to play on it, and I used to try and copy what my dad and my brother were playing on the guitars. And it took, it took some practice and everything, but I always learned by ear. I never ever read any music in school or anything like that. So listening to Elton John, play his piano and he'd be rocking it out, and it was different for me because my brother and my dad always used to play songs that were related to a lot of guitar. So for me, his story of when he was growing up and as a kid, Elton John knew every single note offhand. Like his years are insane. Like growing up as a kid, he was just lyrically so talented and such. It was like a lyrical genius, really. And I wish I had that, because I think to have that, it's a gift. It's a real gift to have that in life. Um, so it kind of it touches me every time I see and hear Elton John playing, especially when I watched his movie of him growing up as a kid. It really touched me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I love Elton John.
Nice, nice. So, if you could collaborate on any song with Elton, which song would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a tough question. My one of my favorite songs is actually Crocodile Rock. Crocodile Rock is amazing because for me it's when his career just took off. Back in that little jazz place, and I think that's really phenomenal. The fact that, especially when you see it in the movie, it kind of brings it to light, how amazing his actual performance was, and it just blew everyone away. So Crocodile Rock would definitely be it, because for me it brought out that era as well. That era in music where everyone was so groovy and into their dancing and everything. And
Yeah.
he got on that piano with his outfit, and everyone thought that he looked ridiculous at first, and then he just absolutely jammed, and I think that was fabulous. Really, really do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That song, I remember that song growing up as a kid, and it's just like, I think, like, as a kid, like, I would just like always like hear songs but wouldn't know the artist, and then like growing up, like, it's like you get to realize like, oh, this song is by that person, and it's just like,
Exactly.
and it's just like you, and it's so like I've had this thing where it's like I've heard so many songs that I never knew who it was by, and then realized like Elton John was Crocodile Rock, and it was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Crocodile Rock and Elton John. I mean, when I listen to music, I don't listen to the words of the song. When I hear music, when I hear a song, I actually hear the music in the song before I hear the lyrics. I've always been like that. So for me, when I'm learning a song, it gives me a chance to actually understand what the lyrics about, and what the song is about. And for me, Crocodile Rock, it talks about how the era of that rock and roll era had everyone dancing to rock around the clock, and just all sorts of different rock and roll from that era, and how they used to dance and everything. But Crocodile Rock was a different kind of dance as well.
yeah,
So everyone had their own kind of groove to it. And I think that's really phenomenal, to have your own song and have your own kind of dance to it. I think that's great.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So now I know. So now you talked about a lot about how about growing up as a child and getting into Elton John. Um, but I don't think we'd really touched on how you got into liking Elton John.
Yes. So Elton John, his music has just inspired me. Like throughout the decades, you've always heard of Elton John playing on the radio. You've always heard of Elton John playing his music, playing the piano. Um, and for me, where he really inspired me was when I started playing piano, because I didn't play I didn't, like I said, I didn't go to school. I didn't learn how to read notes. I just played by ear, just like he did. And when I finally got to play my piano, I would always try and mimic how he played, but it's so difficult. He is so amazingly talented. You just don't realize, because sometimes when you hear his music, you hear the piano sometimes, but it's kind of overpowered by the music slightly. But he is so talented. He actually drives the songs that he writes through his music, and I think that's something that a lot of musicians in this day and age who sing and play the piano, they don't do that.
So did you ever learn how to read music notes, or do you still play by ear?
I still play by ear till today. Till
Wow,
today.
that's amazing.
I don't know about that. I think I would have preferred to learn how to read music as well, and figure it out that way. But I love music so much that I don't want to take the fun out of it, if that makes sense. Like, to me, I enjoy how I play and how I hear, because of how I do it. And if I went and got it into academically, understanding and reading it, I think it would take the fun out of it for me. But
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So have you ever had the chance to see Elton John in concert?
well, actually, we went to see him um, just this year. We went to see Elton John because he came into Cardiff, which is probably about half an hour away from us. And oh yes, in May. Thank you, Miss Christie, who's my partner. We went, and she got us tickets to see Elton John, and it was a phenomenal experience. I must say, it was absolutely crazy. It was his farewell tour. It was called Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, which is obviously one of his greatest songs and albums on there. Um,
Yeah.
and the people, they flooded into that stadium within minutes, and everyone, the vibe in there was just so awesome. Like, everyone was dancing around and stood up, and you know he came up on stage. Bless him, he must be, he's quite an elderly guy. You think of Elton John and all the decades of music he's played. He's quite elderly, but he came on stage, and he walked like, really, like, he looked like a really poorly wore matched jacket and everything. And then he sat down on the piano, and he transformed into like a 20-year-old. Like, he literally sat down and he started playing, and he was jamming, and everyone was dancing, and it was such a great time. And um, yeah, an experience, really, really. And for me, because I've traveled a lot, and for me, to be here in the UK and actually see him live, to see that person that I've been hearing all my life on our radios and our little cassette players and our CDs, and like, growing up through the ages, through the decades, to listen to his music live and see him with my own eyes, it was quite emotional for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, just an amazing experience.
So what was your favorite song that you saw him perform live?
Oh, that's a tough question. That is a tough question. His live music, like, the thing with his concerts, he was trying to promote some of his newer songs in the beginning. So a lot of people didn't quite know what his newer songs were. So they're like, oh, okay, this sounds interesting. This sounds okay. But for me, one of my favorite songs of his, and it will always be Sacrifice. Sacrifice for me is like Elton John deep down. Like, his that song, it just takes you far away. Like, it just makes you think of all the good memories of growing up, and yeah. For me, when we heard Sacrifice come on, like, in discos, as they used to call them back in the day, discotheques, um, there'd be the song that would come on almost towards the end of the night, where the DJ is trying to get everyone to go home, and you see all the couples dancing slowly to Sacrifice, and it makes me feel warm inside when I think about that.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
so he also just recently did a collaboration with Britney Spears on his song Tiny Dancer. What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
Well, Britney Spears is an amazing artist in her own perspective, and Elton John has collaborated with probably one of the most collaborated artists. Like he's had songs with almost everyone that you can think of.
Yeah.
For him to sing with Britney Spears, I think it's quite different. It's quite interesting, and I think it takes it away from the real song, though. I think it does take it away from the real song. But again, he's trying to keep up with different artists, and he's trying to, he just loves getting to know people and getting to sing with them. Sorry about the puppies.
No, you're fine. So
Come and get them. Just come on that side.
so
Sorry.
if you ever met or had a conversation with Elton, what would you want to ask him or talk about?
Oh, that's a very good question again. I think Elton John, because we all know his story, and I know we all know what he's done for his charities are so amazing. I'd love to hear what he wants to pass on to future generation, because he's touched the hearts of so many wonderful people. He's done so much for a lot of people, for the young, the old. He's set a great example, especially in the LGBT community. He's done a lot for HIV patients, and everything that he's done. I'd love to hear what his insight would be into what he wants to carry on as his legacy to future to future musicians and upcoming artists. And I'd love to know what he wants to pass on. That would be for me. That would be the most important thing.
Yeah, that
And
definitely is stuff.
I think it's really important for people to remember his music, because like I said, he's an old guy now. But his music will always live on. Um, I'd just love to see what he'd want people to remember him as.
Yeah, because we want to keep the legacy alive of Elton John.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he's one of the greatest artists ever.
Yeah. So now before I let you go, you want to plug your stream one more time? Everybody, by the way, this is Pop Culture Hour. We have Magical Stallion in the box. Hit him with a favorite. We do the show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So, welcome to the show, and he is about to tell us when he goes live and about his show.
Thank you, Kim. So I'm normally live around this time every evening. If not, well, I'd say 5 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week. And I do have a featured show called Best Expressed. It's a show that brings people from all over the world and encourages you all to express yourself through your music or your talents. So we have 3 guests on the show every week, and every week it's really fun. We have different topics that we talk about as well, and you get to find out a bit more of the performers as people rather than just performers. So you get to find out a bit more about them and how they relate to the topics that we have in the show. We have fun features as well in the show. There's always something quirky about them. There's always a funny fact in there somehow. And yeah, just come in and check it out. Lots of wonderful people. It's an amazing show. Again, different cultures, different diverse, totally diverse. Get people from Brazil, Philippines, UK, America, Canada, all over the world. So it's nice to see everyone coming together just because of what they love and enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's 5 p.m. every Tuesday, 5 p.m. EST. If you're in the UK, that's 10 p.m. GMT.
So
And yeah,
tomorrow.
every Tuesdays.
So tomorrow, guys.
That's
Make
it.
sure.
But
All
yes,
right.
thank you very much for having me, and
Of
I've
course.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Of course, I appreciate you and having you on, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
All right, guys, that was our final guest, Magical Stallion. If you didn't hit the favorite button, what are you waiting for? Uh, Again, thank you to both of our guests who came on today. We had Papa Bear Sings, who talked about the Batman 1966 TV series. And then we just had Magical Stallion, who talked about Elton John. And it was great conversations. I hope you all took away some great information and facts and things learned about what you were and educated on both the topics and even just getting to know Magical Stallion and Papa Bear about why they love Batman and Elton John so much. So, um, again, if you would like to be on the show, uh, hit my username, pop over to my Instagram, shoot me a message, and let me know you want to be on the show. The show is gonna be every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time until November. November, we are switching over to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And I also I'm gonna be doing a quote every week at the end of the show from somebody or something in the pop culture field. And this week's pop culture quote comes to us from is "Be you, stay you, because you are awesome." Again, be you, stay you, because you are awesome. So, if you can guess who that's from, you get bonus points. And, anyways, again, thank you guys for being here. This is Pop Culture Hour, happens every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And, I appreciate everybody who came to the show and watched it. I appreciate our guests. I appreciate our gifters, our top 3 gifters as Emoji J, Nemo, Stevo, and Moody Andrew. So, again, I appreciate everybody. And that is the show for today. So, I will see you guys next week for our guests for next week. And I am excited. And I can't wait to see you guys back next week. Have a good rest of your night. Until next week, be you, stay you, and because you are awesome.